Condos made up half of all sales in July, but prices are still slipping. What does that mean for you? Buyers often think condos are bulletproof. The July data shows that they are not immune. A lot of people also say that condos are the most liquid part of the market right now, but let's see what the numbers actually say. So right now, condos remain the most active market segment here in Metro Vancouver real estate with over 1,100 sales in July, but activity is not enough to keep prices rising. Condos are following the overall trend of softening values. But what does this mean for you as a buyer or a seller? Let's dive into it. First of all, the sales and listings numbers. Now, for sales, there were 1,158 sales in July. This is up month over month from 1,040 sales, so about 100 more sales month over month. But we are still down 2.9% year over year. When we look at a purely volume standpoint in sales, the condo market accounts for roughly half of the overall transactions in all of Metro Vancouver. So when you're looking at sales data for the market overall, just keep note that half of that is just condos. Sales are up month over month. Let's look at listings. So there were 7,263 active listings this month. This is down slightly month over month from 7,456 listings. So about 200 fewer listings month over month. A great sign of a bounce back for the condo market. We are seeing sales up month over month and listings down month over month. So we're seeing the demand start to absorb some of that inventory on the market. When we look at a year over year perspective for listings, we are still up 17.4%. Buyers have a wide selection than most other previous markets, which is keeping price growth in check. But when we look at the change in listings and sales month over month, we're seeing that gap start to close, and this could potentially be the bottom of the market, and we might be trending upwards if this trend continues month over month. This could be a really good sign that the fall market is going to be really busy. Okay, now let's get into benchmark price. The condo benchmark price is $743,000. This is down 0.6% month over month, and then down 3.2% year over year. So prices actually have declined in condos for 3 straight months. So we are seeing sales start to absorb the active listings, but prices have not yet caught up. If we are seeing sales absorb listings for consecutive months on end, we will start to see prices start to stabilize more and potentially increase as well. And this will become more clear when we look at the sales to active ratio. Right now it is 15.9%, so essentially 16% sales to active ratio, which is balanced, perfectly in the balance, slightly favoring buyers, but could shift either way. Right now, condos are selling faster than detached homes, but are still slightly slower than townhomes. So now let's give a little context to all of these numbers. What is driving the market? Well, first of all, let's look at investor pullback. Right now, higher rates are limiting cash flow and cash flow returns. A lot of condo investors are pretty rate sensitive. So if they're able to borrow money for cheap, this is when they're seeing moves in the market because their rent to price ratios are more desirable and they can get much closer to a cash flowing property. But another big part of the activity in this market segment is first time home buyers. So this is still the most accessible entry point into the Vancouver housing market, which is a big support for baseline demand. A lot of first time home buyers are still pretty rate sensitive. Again, this is the first time they're purchasing a home. And when they look at those monthly payments and what even a small bump or a small decrease in interest rates will do to that, a lot of them decide to wait. But we've seen the Bank of Canada hold rates steady for the past few rate announcements. We're seeing another rate announcement in September. So if we see a decrease here, I feel like this could shift the entire condo market, driving both first-time home buyers and investors to make a move here before the new year. And we're seeing steady performance for condos around urban centers and SkyTrain stations. So even in a market where rental rates are declining, we're seeing rental rates pretty steady in these areas. And we're seeing vacancy rates hold steady in these areas too, where they're relatively low. So with the condo, it's extremely important to know where you're buying. And in a market right now where there's lots of inventory, make sure you're getting a really good price that will set you up for some long-term appreciation and gains. So in conclusion, condos remain the workhorse of the Metro Vancouver housing market. Lots of sales, lots of listings, but pricing remains under pressure. This could be a shift in the market when we look at the numbers, and we still need more data. But the fall market is historically busier than the summer, so this could be a sign that there's a lot of momentum going into the upcoming fall market. So key takeaways for buyers, sellers, and investors. For buyers, you have excellent selection, lots of negotiating room, and a chance to enter below last year's prices, especially if you're purchasing in a building with a lot of inventory for matching floor plans. In this type of market where buyers are favored, you're able to get some of those top floor prices, so an 1802 unit or a 1502 unit, for the price of a 702 unit. Be sure to focus on buildings where there's a lot of availability on many floors, and then target those higher floor options and try to negotiate them down to where the lower floors are selling. In a high performing market, we're going to see these higher floors outperform the lower floors. People will be happy to pay a premium, but in these depressed markets, they usually just want to sell, especially if there's a lot of competition in the building. In Surrey Central, I even saw a penthouse unit sell for the same price as a 5th floor unit did a few months prior. Insane. So now for sellers, condos are selling faster than detached, but expect buyers to still negotiate, especially if you have a lot of competition in your building, and even more so if you have direct competition with identical floor plans just on different floors. If that's the case, you really need to make your listing shine either through staging, competitive pricing, or another way to make yourself stand out amongst those other floor plans. And now for investors, we are seeing short-term softness in pricings, but strong fundamentals for rental demand in high or very highly desirable areas, close to universities, good amenities, SkyTrain, and urban centers. So if you're able to get a really good deal, potentially a seller in distress in an area like this, it could be a really good investment and a really good opportunity if, again, this momentum carries into the fall market and prices start to trend up and inventory continues to decrease relative to the number of sales. If you're looking for a starter condo or an investment unit, this could be a really good opportunity for you. I have market update videos for all the market segments, and then more videos on how to sell in this market, what to buy in this market, and more. So keep an eye out for those. I'll see you on one of those videos. Until then, peace.